Today is September 25th, and here in North America, the season is shifting. The mornings carry that crisp chill that makes you reach for a sweater. The leaves outside are beginning to show their first shades of gold, and the days are noticeably shorter. Fall is here, a season that has always been about preparation, reflection, and letting go. And as the seasons change, many of us look around our homes and notice that they too are carrying the weight of time. Closets filled with clothes we haven't worn in years, attics stacked with boxes we promised ourselves we'd sort through one day, garages that long ago stopped holding cars and instead became warehouses of forgotten furniture, holiday decorations, or even our children's things that were never reclaimed. For those of us in our later years, decluttering isn't just about getting organized. It often feels like standing face to face with our own history. Every item has a story. Every drawer holds a memory. And while the magazines make it look quick and easy, just toss a few bags into the donation bin, the truth is far more complicated. That's why today I want to share with you 7 harsh truths about decluttering your home that no one tells you. These aren't the cheerful tips you'll find in a magazine. These are the realities, the tough lessons I wish someone had told me when I started my own journey nearly a decade ago after losing my family and childhood home. So if you've been feeling the weight of clutter and wondering where to begin, or if you've tried before and found yourself discouraged, I want you to know you're not alone. Decluttering is possible, but it comes with truths that can be difficult to face. And once you understand them, the process becomes not just lighter, but freeing. Let's begin. Harsh truth number 1. Decluttering alone will not save you. Here's the first truth. Decluttering by itself will never give you the clutter-free home you're hoping for. Think of it this way. Imagine you break your leg, you head to the doctor expecting them to reset the bone, put it in a cast, and give you what you need to heal. But instead, they slap on a Band-Aid and send you home. That's what decluttering can become if we treat it as the entire solution, a Band-Aid on a much deeper problem. I've seen it over and over again. People spend a weekend purging their homes, dragging bags to the donation center, clearing off counters, feeling lighter for the first time in years. But within weeks, the clutter sneaks back in. New shopping bags land on the kitchen table. Seasonal sales pull us back into buying things we don't need. Before long, the same closets are full again. Why? Because decluttering only removes what's already here. It doesn't fix the inflow, the way new things keep entering our homes. And it doesn't fix the mindset, the beliefs we carry that tell us, I might need this someday, or my children will want this. I'll be the first to admit I was guilty of this myself. I remember dropping off donations at Goodwill, feeling proud of myself, and then walking straight through the front doors to treasure hunt. I was simply replacing one pile with another. The truth is, decluttering is only 25% of the work. The other 75% is learning to master 4 key things. Inflow. What comes into your home in the first place? Outflow. What consistently leaves your home? Systems. The habits and routines that keep things from piling up again. And mindset. How you see your stuff, your space, and the role they play in your life. Picture these 4 as the legs of a table. If one is broken, the table cannot stand. And if even one of these areas is ignored, your home will never stay clutter-free for long. So here's the first harsh truth. If you want lasting change, don't just declutter. Transform the way you think, shop, and live in your home. Harsh truth number 2. Everything is hard, but you get to choose your hard. Here's the second truth. Decluttering is hard, But so is living with clutter. You simply get to choose which hard you want. Think about it for a moment. Sorting through a lifetime of belongings takes energy, patience, and sometimes tears. It means deciding what stays, what goes, and facing memories you might not be ready to relive. That's hard. But living in a cluttered space is hard too. Studies show that a messy home keeps the body in a low level of stress, almost like survival mode. It weighs on your mind every time you walk past the same piles. It steals your peace of mind, makes you feel older than you are, and often makes you avoid inviting people over. For many seniors, clutter can even become a safety hazard. Tripping hazards, blocked walkways, and dust that makes breathing harder. If your clutter is tied to shopping habits, there's another layer of hard to face. Changing spending patterns at any age is tough, but the alternative is often worse. Living with debt or wasted money that could have been used for experiences, healthcare, or leaving behind something meaningful for family. At the end of the day, the truth is this: there is no easy path, but we get to choose the hard that gives us freedom instead of the one that keeps us stuck. Even after nearly a decade of practice, I still have to remind myself of this. I once started an impulse spending journal where I wrote down every urge to buy something I didn't really need. Do you know what happened? Within the first month, I saved more than $5,000 simply by pausing and writing it down instead of pulling out my wallet. That was hard in the moment, resisting the dopamine rush of a new purchase. But in the long run, it was far easier than living with more clutter, more bills, and more regret. So if you're standing at a crossroads in your home, surrounded by decades of things, remember, decluttering is hard, but living with the clutter into the rest of your years is harder. Choose the hard that gives you freedom. Harsh truth number 3. The use it or lose it rule will break your heart. The third truth is this: if you're not using it, you're losing more than just space. You're losing peace of mind. There's a rule in decluttering often called use it or lose it. On the surface, it sounds simple. If you haven't used something in months or years, it probably doesn't belong in your home anymore. But here's what no one tells you. This rule can be absolutely heartbreaking when the items you're facing are tied to memories, milestones, or loved ones. I remember scrolling through stories where people were upset after finding donations at thrift shops, collections of bells, figurines, or even vintage lamps. They said things like, "How could someone just drop this off like it meant nothing?" And I understand why that stings. As seniors, many of us have lived long enough to attach meaning to objects. Wedding gifts, souvenirs from travels, or collections that marked anniversaries and achievements. Seeing someone else's memories on a thrift store shelf can make us fear what will happen to our own. But here's the hard truth. Your home is meant to serve you, not the other way around. Just because Grandma's bell collection once brought her joy does not mean you're required to shoulder the weight of it for the rest of your life. When I was in my 20s, I'd already lost both of my parents, several grandparents, and other loved ones. My home became a museum for their things: furniture, photos, collections of coins and dolls and figurines. For nearly 30 years, I tried to carry their memories through their belongings. But instead of comforting me, those items often felt heavy, like anchors tying me to grief. Letting go of sentimental items is one of the hardest parts of decluttering. But here's the truth. The memory isn't in the object. The memory is in you. Keeping a few meaningful pieces that genuinely bring you joy is enough. You don't need to keep everything to honor your past. So the use it or lose it rule isn't just about getting rid of clutter. It's about giving yourself permission to release the things that no longer serve your life today. It's okay to cry. It's okay to take your time. But it's not okay to let objects weigh down your future. Use it or lose it. And if you choose to lose it, Remember, you're not discarding the love, the moments, or the person behind it. You're simply choosing space for the life you still have ahead of you. Harsh truth number 4. No one wants your stuff. This one is going to sting a little, but it's the truth we all eventually face. No one wants your stuff. For decades, many of us were told that our belongings were investments. China cabinets full of fine dishes, doll collections, stamps, coins, Beanie Babies, sports memorabilia. We saved them carefully, believing they would hold or even grow in value, and perhaps even pay for our children's education one day. We held on to antique furniture thinking it would be passed down like family treasures. But the reality is sobering. Your kids and grandkids, no matter how much they love you, don't want most of it. Younger generations live in smaller homes or apartments. They value experiences over objects, and they don't want to inherit boxes of collectibles that mean little to them. What we see as precious, they often see as a burden. I never forget reading a comment in a Forbes article that brought tears to my eyes. A woman shared how her mother had spent her whole life collecting things she believed were valuable. When she passed, her children discovered that no one would buy the items. They tried yard sales, pawn shops, online listings, even fine jewelry and gold went for pennies on the dollar. 2 decades later, they were still paying for a storage unit just to hold what they couldn't bear to throw away. There's even a name for this: the endowment effect. Psychologists use it to describe how we tend to overestimate the value of our possessions simply because they belong to us. We think, surely someone else will treasure this. But more often than not, they don't. So here's the harsh reality. If you're holding on to things purely because you believe someone else will want them, you may be waiting forever. At some point, you must decide what's worth keeping for yourself and what needs to go, whether that means selling for a fraction of what you hoped, donating, or simply letting go. It's painful, but the alternative is worse. Leaving behind a mountain of belongings that your children or grandchildren will be forced to sort through while they're grieving. The greatest gift you can give them isn't a collection of objects. It's the freedom from that burden. Harsh truth number 5. There's no secret decluttering method. This one may surprise you. There is no magical method that will make decluttering easy. We live in a world that loves systems. There are books, blogs, and TV shows built around methods like the 4-box rule: keep, donate, trash, relocate. Or the KonMari method, where you hold each item and decide if it sparks joy. And while those approaches can certainly help, here's the hard truth. None of them matter if you don't actually take action. It's human nature to search for the perfect plan before we start. We tell ourselves, if I just find the right system, then I'll finally tackle this mess. But that's often procrastination in disguise. It keeps us stuck in planning instead of doing. When I was in the thick of my own decluttering journey, I wasted months reading articles, watching videos, and making endless sorting piles. Do you know what finally worked? Rolling up my sleeves and starting small. 15 minutes at the kitchen junk drawer, 1 shelf in the linen closet, 1 box from the garage. Progress doesn't happen when you uncover a hidden secret. It happens when you take that first step, however small it may be. There's a quote I came across in a book called The 12-Week Year that has stayed with me ever since. The barrier standing between you and what you are truly capable of is not a lack of information, ideas, or techniques. The secret sauce is execution. And it's true. You don't need another checklist or miracle formula. You don't need a free weekend or a perfect mood. What you need is to begin. Even 15 minutes a day adds up faster than you think. So here's the harsh truth. There's no secret, no shortcut, no hack that will make decluttering effortless. Waiting for one will keep you buried. Starting, even imperfectly, will set you free.
Harsh truth number 6. Decluttering is an emotional battle, not just a physical one. When most people talk about decluttering, they focus on the physical side of things, sorting, bagging, hauling. But the reality is this: decluttering is far more emotional than it is physical. Every object you touch is connected to a memory. A wedding dress carefully stored for decades. The dining set where family dinners once stretched long into the night. The toy cars your son used to race across the floor before he grew up and left home. These things aren't just things to you. They are symbols of people, seasons of life, and stories you don't want to forget. That's why decluttering can feel like grief. In a way, it is. You're not just letting go of an item, you're letting go of the season of life it represents. And for seniors, this truth is even sharper, because the older we get, the more of those seasons are behind us. I remember standing in front of my mother's closet after she passed away. Every blouse still smelled like her. Every pair of shoes carried the shape of her feet. How could I just toss them into a bag? It felt like throwing her away. It took me months to realize that keeping her clothes didn't keep her close. What kept her close were the stories, the photos, the recipes she handed down. The clothes were just fabric. The love was what lasted. This is the emotional battle of decluttering, separating the person or memory from the object. And it's not easy. Some days it will feel like tearing your heart open. Other days it will feel like relief, like you're finally breathing again after holding your breath for years. Here's the truth. If you ignore the emotional side, you'll never win the battle. You'll keep organizing, rearranging, and boxing things up instead of truly letting go. But when you face the emotions head on, when you give yourself permission to grieve, to cry, and then to release, you'll finally find freedom. So yes, decluttering is about stuff. But more than that, it's about processing your past and deciding how much of it you want to carry into your future. And that, my friend, is the hardest work of all. Harsh truth number 7. Decluttering never really ends. Here's the 7th truth, and it might be the hardest to accept. Decluttering is never finished. Many of us begin this journey believing that if we just power through, if we just bag up everything in one big push, then it'll be over forever. We picture ourselves standing in a perfectly clean home, never having to deal with clutter again. But the truth is, clutter has a way of creeping back in. Life doesn't stop. Mail keeps arriving. Groceries come with extra packaging. Holidays and birthdays bring gifts. Even the smallest shopping trip adds something new to your home. If you think of decluttering as a one-time event, you'll always feel like you're falling behind. Instead, think of it like gardening. You don't weed your garden once and expect it to stay perfect forever. You tend to it. You pull a few weeds here and there before they take over. Your home is no different. A clutter-free space isn't the result of a single purge. It's the result of small, steady habits over time. For seniors, this truth is especially important. We may not have the energy for marathon cleaning sessions anymore, but we do have the wisdom to build daily rhythms. Hanging up a coat right away. Sorting today's mail instead of stacking it. Donating an item the moment we realize we don't use it. These small habits are what protect us from ever having to start over again. So here's the final truth. Decluttering isn't a finish line you cross. It's a lifestyle you choose. And the gift of embracing that reality is peace. Peace in your home, peace in your mind, and peace in knowing that your loved ones won't be left with the burden of sorting through mountains of belongings when you're gone. So there you have it. 7 harsh truths about decluttering your home that no one tells you. None of them are easy to face, but every single one of them is worth it. Because the less weight you carry in your home,
the more lightness you'll feel in your days. If this video gave you something to think about, I'd love for you to join our community by hitting that subscribe button and turning on all notifications. That way, you won't miss the upcoming videos where we'll dive even deeper into making your home simpler, lighter, and more peaceful, step by step. And if you're ready to keep going right now, YouTube has already placed 2 more videos for you on the screen. One will guide you through practical habits seniors with clean homes do every day, and the other will show you how to finally let go of sentimental clutter without guilt. Go ahead and click on the video that speaks to you most. I'll meet you there. Until next time, take care and remember, a lighter home means a lighter heart.